What is up, everyone? I'm Skratch. Welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. We got some news related to the summoning events coming this weekend, guys. As you guys probably noticed, we have a summon rush starting tomorrow. This, of course, will give us fragments for the Fusion Champion, for the epic one. We will have another summoning event, a summon rush, starting next week that will give us 50 fragments. So it really depends what you are planning to do. Maybe you're not too tempted by the champions that we have on the progressive chance this week, but to be honest, we have some very solid champions, and personally, I'm pretty happy with the champions that we have on the list. Now, of course, we might have something better next week. Now, this summon rush should give us 25 fragments, okay? This one that starts tomorrow. As I mentioned, next week we will have a different one starting on Tuesday. This one will give us 50 fragments. At least that's what the calendar was showing. Now, in terms of rewards, we might have slightly better rewards in the other summon rush, to be honest, but I'm not 100% sure. They do seem to be pretty similar. We are going to get materials to craft the relics. I'm still hoping for them to make a guaranteed, in a way or another, for that legendary relic, because it's absolutely freaking OP, guys. And we must have it, all of us. Now, let me just walk you through the champions that we have on the summoning event. This Friday, January 17th, they're planning to launch a progressive chance event, giving you at least a 15x chance to summon the champions of your dreams from a selected pool of ancient, voids, primals, and sacred shards. As I mentioned, we will have some solid champions as well, but not the entire pool is OP. Starting with the very first champion that we have on the list, guys, is going to be Lady Kimi. Actually, really solid for the Chimera if you don't have much better options than her. I really think that she's really powerful. She does bring a lot of things to the table. The A1 is not as important, but the A2 decrease accuracy, decrease speed, which is really nice. The A3 block buffs, if you're removing a buff from the Chimera, increase accuracy, increase speed, and you're getting Thermeter as well. Now, these buffs and debuffs will be required for trials, right? So it's very important to prioritize trials over a big amount of damage, because you're not going to accumulate materials if you're skipping the trials. So personally, as I've mentioned in previous videos, I'm really focused on completing as many trials as possible. I'm going to show you that in a second if we get to it. It's a shame that this speed aura is not for all battles, even though if it's a 19%, a 20% or something like that, it would be much better. Because let's be honest, who gives a damn about the Doom Tower battles to have a 30% speed aura in there on Lady Kimi, right? Either way, she's on the list, guys. I personally like the champion, but to be honest, in the current meta, I would not summon for her on a 15x progressive chance, right? There are plenty of different options. If you have a Nekmotar, he's going to be the GOAT in the Chimera because he brings so many freaking things to the table. The next one on the list, actually still a very solid champion for the Spider Dungeon. He's great in the Ice Golem. He's great as well on the Dragon. He's great in the new event dungeon as well, and that is Teodor the 7th. Pretty solid. Now, yes, the Ice Golem won't take damage from poisons on a hard mode difficulty, but he can activate HP burn. So it really depends what other champions you're pairing with him. Best build for Teodor, again, if you're planning to use him for some solo content and stuff like this, a regen set will really make him justice, high accuracy, some resistance. If not, to be honest, any sets would work on him as long as you're getting the right speed and accuracy to speed tune your team. I am currently using him in the Spider Dungeon. I am using him in the Ice Golem. I am using him in the Dragon. And I've tried him in the Event Dungeon, but I've adjusted a bit the team in there, so I'm using double nut, because I'm fortunate enough to be a man with double nuts, guys, okay? I actually have a third one that I haven't built yet, but I might do it. So Teodor is on the menu as well, guys. Pretty solid champion. Then, I know you would love to get a Kymar, so this might be your chance. We have to summon for the fusion anyway. So when we have good champions during a fusion, I'm always happy. Even though it's just a 15x, it's not like you're guaranteed to get a specific champion, but it's better than having trash champions that nobody wants to summon for and just to force them down your throat because, hey, people are gonna summon anyway because it's a fusion, right? So we have Prince Kymar on the list, still one of the best resets. Of course, nothing comes close to running a double Yumeko, but let's be honest, how many of you guys actually have a double Yumeko? At least I don't. So Kymar is still the GOAT in a lot of areas for me, including the Fire Knight, Doom Tower, so I speedrun the waves. I'm not using a reset him in the Shogun anymore because I have a nasty Turvold that absolutely smashes that. But he's very solid in all of the content and still good for arena. You have a speed aura for arena battles, sleep, remove buffs, resets the cooldown, gives you Termeter. The A1 can put poisons. Not that great when you're going versus Marichkas because you can trigger the passive, but either way, still a solid champion. Best build for Kymar. If you're building him for arena, guys, Pinpoint Stone Skin is going to be the way, or just Pinpoint super fast. If you're building him for PvE content, a shield set is actually really nice on him because not only that it can give more buffs to Seer, but it can basically soak in some damage from the enemies if you're not speed farming the waves and even the dungeons. Like, for example, in the Shogun, I used to run him on a shield set because of it. I'm running him in a lot of content. Like, I don't have to tell you how OP Kymar is, right? You guys know it very well. Then we have another champion that recently got a buff. To be honest, I haven't used him since he got a buff, and that's Gamuran. I should definitely try to drop a guide on him, see if he's actually worth it now. Is he worth building? You have the block active skills on the A1, which is nice. I am using my Gamuran in the Curse City, but that's about it. I'm not really using him anywhere else. With the A2, AoE attack, what I do like about the buff now is that he has a chance to steal all of the buffs from the enemies. Then applies a buff spread effect, taking all buffs from this champion, and he's placing them on all allies. Of course, if we're talking about big buffs like Stone Skin, if we're talking about block damage and other buffs like that, he doesn't spread them, right? Unless maybe if a champion buffs with Stone Skin in the enemy team, rather than having the set from the beginning, and he steals that Stone Skin, he can spread that, maybe. That's something that I actually haven't tried. I know when they released Gamuran and Stone Skin, I was like super hyped for this champion because he was going to be able to spread Stone Skin on all of the team, but unfortunately that was not working. And this passive, this A3 is still a bit weird because of the way he works with the dead or the living enemies, but he's honestly not a bad control champion, support-ish, but mainly for more niche content. I really just don't think that he's going to be absolutely insane in a lot of content. This is nice that he can revive a random ally each time he blocks revive. It is nice. You can do it on dead enemies as well, block the revive on them. I should really try to use him a little bit. Maybe in live arena. Who knows? Maybe I'm gonna get a hidden gem out of Gamuran. Then, the next champion on the list, guys, is safe to say that he is not getting nerfed. It's safe to say that a lot of you guys hate him. Armanz the Magnificent. If you don't have him, now is the perfect chance for you guys to try and get him if you are going for the fusion. Put him on the 15x, pray and spray, and basically hope that you're gonna get Armanz. As I mentioned, a 15x chance is still not great. We don't have a 2x. You're not gonna get double chances to summon legendaries and all that good stuff. Super OP champion, not just for PvP, but for PvE content as well. I think it's safe to say, guys, that he's probably the #1 crowd control champion in the entire game. And that's mainly because he takes all of the Termeter. He puts that stun. He puts the ship with this skill. He can remove buffs. But having the ability to take a turn instantly to decrease the cooldown of this skill furthermore is actually just nuts. And the passive is pretty good too. Speed aura for arena. Increase the cooldown of a random active skill. Super nasty champion. Pinpoint Stone Skin. Stone Skin Perception. It really depends what's the best gear that you have available on your account. Speed gear can work as well. Supersonic is pretty nasty actually on him together with Stone Skin. A lot of the times I'm doing live arena and I'm putting in a couple of buffs on my team and all of a sudden I'm just seeing Armanz getting tons of Termeter because of the Supersonic, right? I was actually considering the other day to change my Armanz into Supersonic because now I actually have quite a few decent pieces from the supersonic set, so I should be able to get a pretty nice build on the champion. Who knows? Maybe I'm gonna do that. If not, most likely I will farm more pinpoint now that the event dungeon is on, and put him on stone skin and pinpoint. I hate it when he becomes a ship when he's trying to ship somebody else or stuff like that. It's pretty annoying. Then, moving on to the next one, guys. The very first Void Legendary that we have on the list. And this is the very first event that will give you a chance to get the Queen of Hearts. She is the boss in the event dungeon. A pretty nasty ally attack champion. She brings a lot of new things to the table. I wouldn't consider her super OP as a champion for PvP, because it is pretty hard to really make the most out of the champion, but she is a very, very nasty champion. Pretty good base stats. With the A1, she has a chance to land the defense down on all of the enemies and fill the thermometer of all allies by 5%, which is nice. With the A2, removes all buffs from all enemies, places a Dead Brand debuff on the initial target, and a True Fear on all enemies. Now, the Dead Brand debuff actually blocks revive if you kill the target while it's under the debuff. So it's super nasty. Fills the champion's thermometer by 5 for each buff removed by this skill. Now, she does have a very nasty passive. Very powerful versus champions that buff a lot. Basically, she's going to gain an instant turn. That's what makes her really powerful. Now, of course, the main thing that is kind of like making me say that she's not super OP is the fact that if they're going to buff and you're instantly taking a turn, you have two options on the table. Either take the A2, put it in action, remove a lot of buffs if they don't have protection, and then you might gain enough thermometer to help you rotate with the A3 and do the ally attack. Or you're going straight for the A3 and try to kill a target. Now, usually they have stone skin, so that's the main issue with this. Teams up with all allies to attack a single enemy. Before attacking, places an increased attack buff on all allies for 2 turns, and decreases the cooldown of this champion's A2 if the target is killed. And this is on a 4-turn cooldown. So overall, it's a very nice ally attack with an increased attack. You only have Lady Mikage doing it on the same skill, which is really, really powerful. But as I mentioned, in Live Arena, for example, they're going to have a lot of stone skin. So if you're not using the ally attack and you're going for the A2, most likely the enemies will take a turn before the Queen of Hearts will get to take her other turn. And most likely she's going to die and she's not going to get to use the A3. But let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys think? I'm pretty convinced that nobody has the champion just yet because she's not being added to the summoning pool out of the events. Only after the whole Alice Wonderland themed event is over, and that's almost like in a couple of months or so. So this will be the very first chance to actually get a champion, and of course, once we're going to be able to put her in practice, we're going to be able to really understand what she can do. But the best build for this champion, without a doubt, is going to be 9-piece pinpoint if you're able to get that done. 9-piece feral as well, that's another option too. This skill is really important. Now, with the stone skin, it's still a 50-50 chance. What I do think is very, very powerful on her is the passive. For every 10 buffs the enemy team receives, grants this champion an extra turn. So, have a Siphi that will buff, bang, you're going to take an instant turn after that Siphi. A Duchess. Any champion that puts 3 buffs per ally. And that's for PvP, right? Because if you start with a champion that brings 2 buffs, you're only going to have 8 buffs, which won't guarantee her an extra turn. But as soon as you are going to buff again, so for example, if you're going with the Queen of Hearts, right? You're going to open with the A2. Then the enemy will buff. Even if there are only 8 buffs. Or maybe the enemy will buff before. You're going to use the A2. They've already accumulated 8 buffs. Then you have a different champion that might put 2 more buffs on the team. She will take a turn straight after it, you know. So then it will allow you to move into the A3 and use the ally attack. But it is really, really conditional. Increases ally accuracy in all battles by 70. Definitely not a bad aura. And then we have Tuhanarak, guys. Great champion overall. I like Tuhanarak a lot. I just don't like her in the Hydra on Oro. And that's mainly because of the AI, the way the block buffs, decrease attack, and debuff spread will come in effect, because if she's targeting a head that already has tons of buffs, it's going to be really hard to spread the decrease attack and block buffs to the rest. So it's a lot of RNG on auto. You do have, of course, tons of awesome buffs from her. The passive is amazing. 9-piece protection is solid. 9-piece feral again can be really helpful, but 9-piece protection will make her more justice, to be honest. Then we have a few epics, guys. Nothing insane, but hey, they are pretty good epics for progression. So if you are newish to the game, you are going for the fusion, or you want to gamble your shards away, why not? Because we're all filthy degenerate gamblers right here. This might be the right moment for you to throw in some summons. Starting with Teodor, pretty good reviver for the orcs. I am using him in the Karsiri, but he can carry you in faction wars. He can carry you early on in dungeons as a support healer, increased speed, nice passive as well. Definitely not a bad champion. Then we have Warnan the Silken, which, if I remember it correctly, she's a Sylvan Watcher. Once again, I am using her in the Karsiri. She can be used for the faction war. She has a revive, Thermiter, increased speed, the A1 decrease attack, speed aura for faction crypts. She's been designed for faction wars, basically. Then we have Creodon the Blue. Very, very, very powerful champion for the Fire Knight. Regardless if we're talking about the actual dungeon or the Karsiri, where you're gonna find a lot of the Fire Knight, the freeze is going to be massive with a triple hit, freeze double hit right here, and great for wave control. And you're gonna have increased speed and Thermiter on all allies. Passive not bad either. Pretty solid champion. He doesn't really do a lot of damage or anything like that, but he is useful. Then Void Ones, we have a Eurogrim. What is he? An Ogren Tribes Eurogrim? I think so, right? Speed aura for all battles, continuous heal, a bit of a cleanse, healing, poisons. Again, a solid champion. I am using him again in the Karsiri only. Maybe some secret rooms in the Doom Tower. Great for faction wars, great for dungeons. To be honest, he's an amazing progression support champion. Definitely not a bad one. If you have one, feel free to invest in him with confidence, because he's not going to let you down. And the last one on the list, guys. Everybody loves her. Everybody wants her, especially if they don't have her. Demita. Her main role is to basically enhance your clan boss team, allowing you to take your team to a 1-key on Ultra Nightmare, make affinity-friendly teams, make multi-difficulty teams. She is nice in other content as well, including Hydra clan boss. If you have a well-built team where the Head of Mischief won't create you issues if you're putting the block damage. In the Kymar as well, increases the duration of buffs, you're getting the block damage, you're getting healing. So definitely not a bad epic champion. Actually, one of the best epic champions that we have in the game. But that's it pretty much for this summoning event, guys. That's what we have this weekend. Together with the fusion, right? That's the whole idea. As I mentioned yesterday, we will have the guaranteed today on Firgan Isbale. If you already have a copy, don't bother to get another one. She's not an amazing epic champion. She's not trash either. You could find some niche uses for the champion, like the Bommel, for example. But to be honest, you're going to find tons of different options, and I would not waste 40 ancient shards just to build her, right? Unless I really need her for the Mikage fusion. As usual, appreciate all of you guys watching. Let me know which one of these champions that we had on the list is your most wanted. Are you planning to summon for any of them, especially if you're going for the fusion? Much love, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace.